trade. It's safe to say that this trade didn't go down in the way that I hoped. Yes, I'm showing my hand that I did want the Buffalo Bills to go out and make a move for Christian McCaffrey. I thought it would have been cool. You guys know I'm a Devin Singletary fan. I don't think it would have hindered or hurt Devin Singletary in any way. I think it would have actually helped him. I talked about that in a previous podcast episode. It's 11:46 right now. It's 11:46. This is probably the latest I've ever been on my podcast discussing anything live, with a visual, with you guys tuning in, checking out my thoughts. I am in my bedroom, and I am watching the Sabres game. The Sabres are kicking ass. It's 4-3, but should be 4-2 if it wasn't for that stupid ref kicking the puck in front of the net, right in front of Eric Comrie for Calgary to shoot it in the net. It's another topic for another day. But I'm watching the Sabres game, and I get the tweet, Adam Schefter reporting that the Carolina Panthers have sent Christian McCaffrey to the San Francisco 49ers, and I got to stop what I'm doing. I got to put the feed together. I got to put the video together. I got to get the stream going, right? I got to get on here and talk about this. So this is a huge, huge trade that I don't think I'm overselling it. I don't think I'm being overzealous. This is a massive deal. This is a massive, massive deal, and I'll tell you why. Few reasons why in this podcast episode of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Feel free to give me your comments along the way and how you feel this trade can impact the NFL and the NFC, which is what I will discuss in this podcast video. But just discussing the trade, the Carolina Panthers, they're hitting the reset button. I talked about it in the previous podcast in regards to Christian McCaffrey possibly coming to Buffalo, being that the Bills were one of the three teams reported, and the Bills were one of the three teams that were reported to the very end as being in the mix, along with the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. So the Buffalo Bills are the only team in the AFC that were really in the derby, in the sweepstakes, if you will, for Christian McCaffrey. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reporting that the Buffalo Bills were not interested when it came down to it, to the tail end of the sweepstakes, due to the fact that they want to keep their cap situation strong for re-signing their own and possibly bringing in more players next offseason if need be. But this is a big, big deal. This is a big trade, and the San Francisco 49ers, I think, made a worthy move, getting a running back the caliber of Christian McCaffrey. Now, the talent has always been there. It's not about the talent. We will not question Christian McCaffrey's talent. But the durability question, now that's a question that is a worthy question. These last 2 years, Christian McCaffrey has been so-so. A couple years back, Christian McCaffrey was the best football player in the world, frankly. So let's talk about the trade. The compensation received in this trade, the 49ers are sending second, third, and fourth round draft choices in 2023 and a fifth round pick in 2024 to the Carolina Panthers in exchange for running back Christian McCaffrey. Now, the question is, did the 49ers give up too much? It's always the question with a trade. Did that team give up too much to get that player? And to me, the answer is no. You don't hear a first-round draft choice being thrown in this trade package. You don't hear, mid-round picks that could be a second, could be another second, could be a potential first. You don't hear any of that. You just hear a second and a package of mid-round draft choices. Pretty good for both sides, I feel. Carolina really had their hands tied in this situation. They're hitting the reset button. They're trying to get assets for their biggest asset in Christian McCaffrey. And that was, I think, the best that they could do. I think any team that offered more than that, in terms of firsts, in terms of more picks, maybe in terms of players, wasn't really going to work in terms of adding players to a deal like this. This deal was always going to be picks involved for said player, Christian McCaffrey. Why? Due to the salary cap. Due to the fact that Christian McCaffrey's cap number is high, you had to have a team willing to pay that salary, as willing to pay that salary as the Carolina Panthers were as willing to pay the bonus money that they'll have to pay to McCaffrey, and vice versa. So, takes two to tango here. Now, I think this trade is so huge because I don't think a team needed a running back as much as the San Francisco 49ers, especially given how often they use the run game. Kyle Shanahan, his father Mike Shanahan, former Super Bowl winning head coach of the Denver Broncos, former coach of the then Washington Redskins as well, they love to run the football. They've made plenty of running backs, plenty of money over the course of their career. I'm talking Terrell Davis, a Hall of Famer. I'm talking Clinton Portis. You remember Reuben Drones. You remember Clinton Portis actually playing in Washington with Mike Shanahan once again. And we know what Kyle Shanahan has been able to do with a guy by the name of Deebo Samuel, who has been one of the best all-around weapons in the game over the course of the last, 2-3 years especially, I'd say. So Kyle Shanahan, son of Mike Shanahan, says, if I can go out and get the son of Ed McCaffrey, I'm going to go get him. And he went and got him. Props to him for doing that. I think that it was a smart move. Because Jeff Wilson Jr. was only going to get you so far. Shout out, though, to Jeff Wilson Jr. for what he did for the 49ers as well as what he did for my fantasy team. Now, here's the flip side. The flip side to this is how will this impact the NFC? Currently, there is no team out there, in my humble opinion, with all due respect to the 6-0 Philadelphia Eagles, there is no team out there that has really set themselves apart from being the elite of the elite, bona fide Super Bowl contender, much like the Buffalo Bills have in the AFC, along with the Chiefs. We know who the players are in the AFC. We know the Bills. We know the Chiefs. We know the Chargers can do it. They can push the envelope. The Bengals can do it. They can push the envelope. But the NFC, we don't really know. We don't know how legitimate the Philadelphia Eagles are in this 6-0 start. We're only going to find that out as the season wears on. The Dallas Cowboys, we don't know how good they are when they had Dak, Cooper, and now Dak's back. What are they going to look like with Dak coming back? Tampa Bay, they look old as their quarterback. Green Bay looks terrible. Minnesota 5-1, but we've seen them start hot and end the season on a downward spiral. So the NFC is kind of there for the taking in terms of like the firepower that a team could implement to the opposition. And the fact that the San Francisco 49ers said, yeah, we don't like our quarterback because we wanted to start Trey Lance. Trey Lance got hurt. We didn't want to start Jimmy G. Well, here, we're starting Jimmy G. And Jimmy G, you know what you're getting with Jimmy G. It's not a whole lot. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's fair. It's average. It's, on occasion, good. But if you put a check-down machine of a weapon behind Jimmy Garoppolo, then you're going to put yourself in a really good position to have more offensive success. And I think the opportunity to have Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel, that just blows the whole roof off of this offense. And in terms of fantasy football, I think this move is great for Christian McCaffrey. I think this move reignites his fantasy football dominance, his fantasy football superstar power, and I think anyone that's got him on their fantasy team should be really happy with this trade. I think this is the one spot outside of Buffalo that you wanted Christian McCaffrey to land on, or to go to, I should say. So let's get to some comments. Matthew French says, so upset with that. Thought Bean would have pulled through. Go all in on this season. If we lose out on Odell, I'll be really disappointed. Good evening, Ryan. Good evening, Lisa. John says, hey, Ryan. Lisa says, AFC is much better than the NFC. Nobody is better than Josh Allen. I can't disagree there. But covering the league like I do, not just the Buffalo Bills, I had to hop on this news because I think this does shake up the NFC greatly. I think this does put the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm talking if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, this puts the San Francisco 49ers on a top 3 level because the 49ers have a great defense. They are able to run the football for the majority of the time, and they have weapons. And now they got a real big weapon in Christian McCaffrey. Folks, one thing I want to remind you guys of in this video is the first thing I did when this news broke. What was the first thing I did for fantasy football? I went into every single league, and went out and added one player. And it was not Christian McCaffrey, because obviously McCaffrey is owned in the majority of leagues. But the one guy I went out and got was none other than D'Onta Foreman. And yeah, Carolina Panthers running back D'Onta Foreman, I think it's D'Onta. He and Chuba Hubbard are going to share the backfield in Carolina. No mistake about it. But at the same time, someone is going to eke out those touches more than the other guy. Someone is going to be looked at as the lead back in that offense. And that lead back is Foreman. Ran the football really well at Texas, played in Houston, didn't really have the opportunity that he would like to have. And now he's got a really great opportunity in Carolina. I think that this is a great opportunity for Foreman to really make an impact. Hubbard had that opportunity last year and he didn't make it happen. So Foreman, I think, is the dude. And I went out and I got him in every league. I dropped Hunter Renfrow for Foreman because Renfrow hasn't done anything. And I'm not tied to anyone. I'm not afraid to cut a player that I was happy about getting originally if that player isn't doing anything for me. I got to get people that are willing to do something, that are trending upward, people that are trending downward. That's the name of fantasy football. This kind of move is going to change a lot of teams' game planning in the future here when they play the 49ers, 100%. Because that's a guy that you have to really game plan for. That's a guy that is an MVP caliber player that could turn an offense into a juggernaut. Did the 49ers give up too much? No, they did not. I think this was a really good trade, a fun trade, and I'm very excited to see how this shakes up the NFL. I'm Ryan Thomas. Those are my thoughts on Christian McCaffrey traded to the San Francisco 49ers. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Take care. Subscribe on YouTube, like the Facebook page, and go Bills.